Hey, Shine Living community. We're Jessica and Jill, the Shine Sisters, and this is our Shine Living Room podcast. Each episode, we're bringing you conversations and practices around movement medicine, mindfulness, nutrition, and inspirations to reclaim your power and become our greatest versions as we elevate the energy of ourselves and our planet. So let's dive in to energize, nourish, and awaken together.
Supernova.
Hi, Shine Living community. Welcome back to another episode of the Shine Living Room podcast. Thank you for being here.
Today, we're going to talk about how to get your kids to eat healthy. Such a big one.
Such a big one. So let's take a deep breath together, in and out through the nose, to ground into the space and to receive with an open heart and an open mind. Are you ready? Here we go. Big inhale through the nose. Exhaling through the nose. And let us begin.
And what I'll say to start with that breath is, first and foremost, starting right here, right now, this is not about shame, blame, not enough, all of that. So letting that go with that breath, maybe even taking one more, because this is about learning and expanding and trying new things as we learn more together. So today, talking about getting to get your kids to eat healthier, it is so important because food is more than just, what we're tasting on our palate or what our kids are tasting on our palate. The food literally becomes us, cell by cell. It's a vibration. And with kids, especially that are growing so quickly, it really comes down to how they can focus in school, how they can play hard on the playground. It really comes down to their mood, their joy, how they feel in their bodies. I mean, so much goes into food and how it reflects in our bodies. So we, as the parents and aunties and caretakers, it's so good to have this knowledge and inspiration to be able to share with our children and inspire them to just take care of themselves and eat well and enjoy food.
Absolutely. And as many of you know, we're big enjoyers of food. We had restaurants for over 20 years here in Boulder, Colorado, and we were always so excited about our kids' menu because a lot of times when you go out to restaurants, the food can be beautiful and creative, but then when it comes to the kids' menu, it's kind of crappy. It's like cardboard pizza, it's chicken fingers.
Definitely an afterthought.
Definitely the afterthought. But for us, we loved putting it at the forefront, as much of the forefront as everything else. And we did healthful and thoughtful food that not only the kids loved, but the adults loved as well because they were feeding their children really well with their food. We always snuck in different components to make it healthy and to make it juicy and creative and tasty.
Delicious, exactly. And so part of this process, which I think is so cool when we come to inspiring our kids to eat healthier, is really getting into what your relationship with food is. I can't tell you how much we've seen with clients, with friends, how so much of how we feel about ourselves and our food and our bodies is reflected in our kids. So I get this. This is deep. So the invitation is to just check yourself when you're talking about food, when you're talking about body image, and talking instead, when we're talking about body image, of what we look like and more about what we feel like. We eat good foods to feel energized when we're outside playing, when we're on the playground, when we're doing sports. We eat good food, so our hair grows. My girls used to love when I would say that. Our eyes sparkle, that kind of thing. It's such a different message than when it comes down to size. And also, how restrictive are we around food? Are we able to enjoy and celebrate food? Are we able to, eat well and eat healthy out of self-love rather than this kind of self-punishment or I need to look different or whatever it is, we know. So this is a really good opportunity to get real with yourself, knowing that your kids are watching and they're taking it in and they're taking it on. So let that love for your kid actually fuel this self-reflection.
So beautiful. And the way that we approach food, if we're normalizing healthy food rather than, talking so much, we're going to try to make a healthy meal tonight. It's like normalizing the healthy food and getting your kids used to eating healthy foods. Like, for instance, I love making, I call them cinnamon fries with my nieces. And instead of saying they're squash and they're healthier and all this kind of stuff, I say, oh, let's make the cinnamon fries tonight. Or my niece will come over after school and I'll say, let's make chocolate chip cookies, but we're using a little bit of an alternative ingredients just to up level on the protein that's in there and, on sugars that aren't metabolizing so quickly in the body that are jolting their system. But we don't have to get into all that. We just make food that tastes good, that's also healthful. So we're going to share some tools, some techniques, some philosophy around it. And then we're also going to share some of our favorite recipes at the end. So stay tuned.
Absolutely. So first and foremost, why is it so important for our kids? When we talk about feeding our kids protein in the morning or healthy proteins throughout the day, recognizing how much this really sustains their energy. And because, as mentioned, they're growing so quickly, it helps develop their muscles, their bones, and it also helps with recovery when they're really active during the day, but then they're getting proteins. They actually recover quickly so they can keep their energy high. It also helps with focus in the classroom, at home, when you're asking them to do something, please. It helps them be able to focus because it keeps this energy level very even keel. So they can focus, they can tune in, they can hear, they can metabolize what's happening around them. When it comes to fats are so good for brain development. Mm-hmm. And very often we're feeding our kids high carbohydrate meals because, quite honestly, this is what they crave. And they tend to crave this because kids tend to be high energy. So their body is asking for more carbohydrates, which is good for them. But we don't want them to metabolize so quickly. So they kind of like get freaking crazy and then crash. We've all seen it. So what I love to do is add fats and proteins into any meal that is high in carbohydrates. For example, if I'm feeding oatmeal in the morning, after it's all cooked, I'll finish it off with really good grass-fed butter, or even making pancakes in the morning, high vibe, of course. We'll get you a recipe for that. Adding extra eggs. Doesn't matter if you're making it out of a box or a bag or whatever, just add more eggs to it and less of the mix. And it'll be a high protein, high fat meal for them. I mean, it's so good. The kids love it. Put a really good high quality maple on there and they're in heaven. And so are you because they're even keeled. And other things I like to do is, even if it's cupcakes or something like that, I always add extra fat and extra eggs. Again, they don't taste it and it's so much better for them.
And paying attention to what sugars you're using. We really like to use a raw local honey. And you can put that on like sliced apples with cinnamon and cook it down with some local honey. And it's so good for the enzymes in the body. It's so good for the immune system. It's great for allergies. Another sweetener we really love to use is a really high quality maple syrup, which is also so high in minerals and it doesn't spike the blood sugar. And we love getting the kids involved. So we like to say we set the vibe in the kitchen. We'll put on some music while we're cooking and we'll get them involved with tasting. Do you think this needs more of this or less of this?
My daughter thinks she's like, all hail to her when if it needs more salt or not. But it started when she was little. Like, do you think it needs more salt? Something as simple as that.
Get their creativity going around it.
And then they feel a little ownership over that. And they want to like have it and serve it and be part of it.
Exactly. Like sprouting, which we'll talk about and put in the show notes. But it's such an easy way to bring so much nutrition to any meal. And it's really easy to do. It's inexpensive to do. And you can get your kids to do it with you. And so they're rinsing the sprouts and they're watching them grow. Get them involved in the food that they're eating and they will feel more excited around what they're eating because they'll also feel that connection to the food and to family time together.
And one other thing we'll say is not making it like we should eat more healthy. We need to eat more healthy, and using these words. It's more this excitement around this is how we do it. Like it's out of self-love. We're taking care of our bodies. This tastes so good. Like remember the energy you're bringing to it. And the other thing is meet the kids where they're at. You know, if you have a kid that tends to like sweet foods and sweet breakfast foods and, you know, they always need to have a dessert, recognize that it's not going to change overnight where they're doing more savory stuff. So it's like, instead, we meet them where they're at, learning through our recipes, through our cookbook or other things you find online, how to shift the ingredients to make it more nutrient dense, even though it's still sweet, or as mentioned, adding more protein and fat to it so it doesn't spike their cortisol and make them get, you know, all crazy and drive you nuts. So it's meeting them where they're at. If they like more salty stuff, it's really cool to make them broths, and they can sip broths in the morning. And, you know, it's really learning, you know, if they love to eat burgers out, or maybe it's even fast food, you can make amazing grass-fed sliders at home. My kids used to love the sliders at the restaurant. So now they love it when I cut the buns a little smaller and I make them these amazing, you know, grass-fed sliders with raw cheese and, you know, with sweet potato fries, that kind of thing.
And my niece, she's 11 years old. She loves mousse. Chocolate mousse is like her thing. So we came up with a recipe. It's avocado mousse. So it's using avocados as the base. There's raw honey or maple in there. There's dates in there for a sweetener and raw cacao in there. And she makes it on her own. She gets out the blender. She makes it herself. So what we would love to do is to drop some of our favorite recipes, not only from my nieces and Jessica's kids, but also from the restaurant that are tried and true. We have blondies, we have this avocado mousse, we have mac and cheese that we put in a little bit of broccoli in there for the extra added boost. Lots of things that
we love, like a watermelon juice we make for electrolytes instead of those crappy drinks. I mean, there's so many of them.
Of the crappy drinks out there, so many of them.
So just like watermelon on its own. And I will say we love the watermelon with seeds because it tastes better, and the watermelon seeds are good for you. So blend it all up together. It doesn't need a sweetener. Kids love it all summer long, and it's so good for them. We can just go on and on with all the beautiful, wonderful, simple to do, because we get it.
Time is of the essence.
Time is of the essence. People may not want to be in the kitchen forever, but you don't have to be. You don't have to be at all. We want to create this way to make it simple, this way to honor the kids, to honor yourself. And what is so cool, to inspire the kids, you start to shift internally with your relationship to food and to your body. And so it's a win-win-win all the way around.
So to wrap it up, I'll say setting the vibe, you know, putting on some music, getting in the kitchen with your kids, and getting some favorite recipes. Even if there's 5, we'll put 5 in the show notes. Our cookbook is also available. Eat, Drink, Shine, 2nd edition. I repeat 2nd edition because there's a 1st edition, but the 2nd edition is updated and where we are and who we are right now. It's available through Amazon or through our website.
Even some recipes in there the kids can make on their own.
Definitely. And also more about going deeper into the food philosophy as well. So to have a deeper understanding, because like Jessica said in the beginning, your food literally becomes you. It's one of the most important things that we put into our body is what we eat. And it's one of the things we can control, what we put in our bodies. There might be environmental stuff going on, whatever, this and that, but this is the food that we're choosing to put in our bodies. So we invite you to choose well for you and your children.
And just remembering too, that the food may seem more expensive up front, like whether it's organic or grass-fed or very high quality fats, it does matter. And recognize you're spending this little bit of more money up front. So then at the back end, you're not spending money on illnesses or medicines or you know, kids that start to have mood disorders or any sort of attention stuff. Like so much can shift when you shift their food. So recognize it's worth it.
And get those kids involved. Help them to understand that their food is their fuel. There are tons of ways to join our community and stay connected. Check out our Lifestyle Family Cookbook, Eat, Drink, Shine by the Shine Sisters. available on Amazon or through our website, shinelivingcommunity.com. You can also download our Shine Living Community digital studio app and get a ton of tools, techniques, practices, and classes in dance, yoga, meditation, breathwork, recipes, and nutrition. Check it out for a free 7 days, rent it by the class, or get an all-access monthly membership. You can also join our newsletter to get our monthly Thrival Kit, always with a different theme and tools, techniques, and practices to go with it. We look forward to connecting deeper.